I see 'em in the morning, I see 'em in the night. Black suits and badges hiding from the light. They don't need a warrant, they don't need a why. They just need a target and a soul they can deny. They call themselves the enforcers of the law. They're just the teeth in a hungry iron jaw. They're rounding up the neighbors and they're clearing out the street, while the ghost of the Gestapo smiles at every beat. Oh, it's the ice Gestapo, the king's private hand, taking all the mercy from this hollowed out land. They're hunting down the thinkers and the ones who won't obey, turning blue state cities into ash and gray. Yeah, the boots are on the stairs and the hearts are made of stone. The worst of all humanities is sitting on the throne. If you want to join the force, you gotta leave your heart behind. Trade in your compassion for a narrow bit of mind. It takes a special kind of evil to tear a child away and put them in a concrete cage until they start to pray. But it ain't just about the border or the papers in the hand. It's about the names on a list to cleanse the promised land. He's using every badge to fix the numbers on the sheet, to make sure every ballot is a surrender and defeat. They said never again, but again is here today, in the vans with tinted windows, driving liberty away. They're going after enemies, they're going after you, if you don't wear the color of the chosen loyal few. Oh, it's the ice Gestapo, the king's private hand, taking all the mercy from this hollowed out land. They're hunting down the thinkers and the ones who won't obey, turning blue state cities into ash and gray. Yeah, the boots are on the stairs and the hearts are made of stone. The worst of all humanity is sitting on the throne. I wear the black for the ones who disappeared. I wear the black for the silence and the fear. The Gestapo's back, just with a different name, and we're all just fuel for a narcissistic flame.
I'm going to Kentucky, I'm gonna check on Mitch, 'cause I believe McConnell has hit his final glitch. Shake him, shake him, shake him, wake him if you can, or give him a hug and pull the plug. Stop lying about that man. First, call the hearse, time to bury the worst. Mitch, need an undertaker over a nurse. No half-mast when he passed, that's the end of a curse. Scott got to stop lying. That's the point of my verse. I shed no tears, feel no fear. Mitch been glitching for years. Show him the love he showed mine throughout his career. Account for what he owe. His account in arrears. Might stomp Mike Timms on his grave, but
oh, Trump, you are my daddy. Yeah, I'd do anything to make you happy. What is that? Oh, Donald T, can't you see? Can't you see? You belong with me, endless ecstasy. Yeah.
From Antifa headquarters in an underground bunker somewhere south of somewhere or north of nowhere, welcome to the smoke pit. I'm Tim Boyven, Writer's Room Lead for the 5051 Veteran Substack. Joining me tonight on our panel is Brian Winter, who is with 5051 Massachusetts, and also 5051 veterans, and Carl Abel, the communications director for 5051 veterans. Our special guest tonight is Lindsay Knapp, veteran, activist, lawyer. We will be discussing Operation Take Up Space, a 300-mile ruck march Lindsay and other women veterans are leading across North Carolina to amplify their voices, lean hard into election protection, and show the rest of this country what ethical leadership looks like. Lindsay, welcome to the Smoke Pit.
Yay! Thank you for having me, Tim.
So, thank you for joining us. Let's start by talking about the redhead radical everyone knows from veteran protests for, well, ever, it seems. Who are you? Who do you work with? And what is your why?
Yeah, thanks. My name is Lindsay Knapp. I'm an attorney and Army veteran. I work with a lot of different organizations. I'm working with Common Defense right now a lot. I used to run an organization called Combat Sexual Assault as well, where I'd represent service members and veterans who'd been retaliated against for reporting sexual assault. I own a yoga studio in Sanford, North Kakalaki, also referred to as North Carolina. But yeah, that's a little bit about, I guess, some of the shenanigans that I roll with. My my why is, and I guess maybe it'll probably make more sense when I start talking about my march. My why is just me. Um, and I I do everything to see what I'm capable of and to see how far I can push myself and to just really kind of like get every last drop out of this life. And I've found that that's the way I think works best, and that's what I hope everybody does that for themselves too. That when we put our kids or our spouse or all these other different things as the why, we start to lose our own authenticity, our own purpose, our own this. So I just literally just do all of this insanity for myself. And although it does help other people and all the things, I'm just doing it because it makes me a better person.
Okay, thanks. Great answer. Tell us a little bit about the march. Why now? I think I know why North Carolina, but why North Carolina or North Kalahaki or whatever you called it?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the march, kind of where it's starting, where it's ending, where it's going, and what you're trying to do with it.
Yeah, so I had this bright idea to march across the state of North Carolina for some reason. And the idea, so I guess I'll tell you what I'm doing, and then maybe I'll tell you why I think it might be a good idea. The idea is that this is going to be a female veteran-led march across the state. So we're going to start in Asheville, walk to Charlotte, through Fort Bragg, ending in Wilmington, over 22 days. And so we're landing on those big cities on a Saturday. We're gonna have a big event on those Saturdays, and each one of those Saturdays we're gonna lean into something. Like there's gonna be heavy threads of election protection throughout the march, but like as we're stepping off on September 12th. September 11th this year falls on a Friday. So we're having like our kickoff event on that Saturday just to make it a little more accessible for folks to come out. But the idea is to land the march in the 25th anniversary of September 11th, honoring the fallen by caring for those that remain. So as we kick off, it's going to be very heavy into like mental health resources for our service members. Like we'll have service dogs. We're going to be doing yoga. We're going to be talking about all different kinds of modalities that folks can use to take care of themselves as we kind of start the march. And then we're going to march to Charlotte. In Charlotte, we're going to have a drag show because for those that may know me, I'm known to maybe host a few drag shows in my day. And it's going to be drag out yeah, it's going to be drag out the vote themed. And then we're going to head to Fort Bragg. Fort Bragg, we're going to have an anti-war demonstration. Not on Fort Bragg proper, but outside of the Airborne and Special Operations Museum, and then landing in Wilmington at the end. And Wilmington is significant for a lot of reasons, but in large part, Wilmington is the only place in the United States where there has ever been a successful coup. So we're going to end the march at the 1898 Memorial in Wilmington, and really just like highlighting all of those kinds of things on our journey. So the the reason we're doing it, and the reason I guess we're doing it in North Carolina. I'm originally from Chicago. I've lived in North Carolinas for about the last 20-ish years, and I run an LGBTQ resource center in Sanford, and I've been doing a lot of like activism and organizing for quite a while. I really started in the domestic violence and sexual assault space, and then I've kind of gone on into a lot of different spaces, especially since after Trump came into office the second time. But the one thing that I've noticed is that as I'm trying to convince other people to do hard things, like when I'm trying to convince, I don't want to say convince, but when I'm trying to like walk somebody through the worst days of their life, right? Like if they've just been raped, if they've just been assaulted, or maybe they are a queer kid and they're trying to figure out how to come out to their parents, or maybe they're a queer adult, right? And they're trying to just figure out how to live in the South, right? People, I'm always trying to help them take up space. So we're calling this Operation Take Up Space because I'm trying to pull out the authenticity and the threads that make each person themselves. So as we're kind of like, the threads of this march is election protection, but it is like really heavily getting to the core of people and letting people know that like you can be exactly who you are and you are allowed to take up space, and trying to create opportunities for people to take up space in the way that makes the most sense for them. So like creating as many on ramps and off ramps for folks. And so then kind of like taking that idea and then kind of going back to what I was saying before about like the activism and the organizing I've been involved in, is that what I have found is that somebody has got to be in the ring getting their ass kicked. And then when somebody is in the ring getting their ass kicked, and I am getting my ass kicked all the time, then sometimes people or what I found is that people are a little more apt to come out and play. So like like if you Google my name and like Proud Boys or any kind of like anything like that, you'll see a bunch of like, a lot of news articles and things like that where I get like a lot of death threats, like folks, neo-Nazis, KKK, Proud Boys come out to protest like my events and do things. But what the community sees is they joke that I'm like their little glitter goddess, that I'm just out here with pink hair, with red hair, with just whatever, and I'm just being joyful. I'm just being happy. I'm just being me, and I'm not letting all of this chaos, all of this fascism, all this whatever you want to call it, affect my spirit. Like it's like I'm gonna be who I am. Like we're all gonna, not to be morbid, we're all gonna die, right? Like we all have this expiration date and we don't know when that's gonna happen. But I have just decided that I'm gonna go out on my own terms, right? Like I'm gonna go out being happy, right? Like and I am going to show other people how to be happy, and not by like telling them how to do it, but showing them, right? Like because if I can do all of these things while suffering, right, then maybe they can do that little micro movement that they've been putting off, that they were like, well, I don't know if I could do it. So that's part of the reason for the march, because it's not like I'm in shape. I am in a shape, right? Like I'm I have never ran a marathon. I don't do ultra marathons. Like, but I know that I can do this, right? I know I'm stubborn. I know that for a fact. But I also like know, like, and especially like as women too, like we know that we do hard things all the time, right? And so sometimes, especially maybe in this regime where a lot of women in particular, and other groups, of course, too, we're starting to make, maybe we were thinking before that maybe we were second class. Maybe what they were saying about us was right. Maybe. But like as I'm doing it, my hope is that other people are like, oh, I could do that too. And that's actually what I'm seeing, right? And that's what I've seen through like my activism over the span that I've been doing it for the last couple decades, is that sometimes you just gotta get your ass kicked.
So Thanks for that, Lindsay. Thanks for that overview. We did have a question before I turn it over to Brian. Is there ever any consequences for the death threats? And I think that's a good question, uh, given that you're going to be marching across a state that kind of has a checkered history with, you know, the anti-establishment movements.
Yeah. There certainly are, right? Like, um, as we're able, we, if we're able to like identify who's giving the threats and things like that, then we're able to press charges and stuff like that. We've successfully had one person convicted of them to date. Um, so there are consequences, if you will, but not as many as we'd like. And actually, Tim, getting back to your question, part that I feel like I didn't hit was like why North Carolina. One, because I'm here, but also two, like the thing I like about North Carolina is that it's like the northernmost southern state, if you will, and there's a lot of different people that live in North Carolina, and it feels like a really good mix of people, but it also feels very representative of all the people in the United States, right? Like I could meet people in North Carolina that would be like similar to somebody that lives in Oklahoma, but also I might be meet people in North Carolina that is similar to somebody who lives in California, right? So like we're having all of these different people in one spot, and the one thing I really like about North Carolina is that it's not like as big as like a California, or like I'm from Chicago, or like a Chicago, or like an Atlanta, like not like all these huge bigger, or New York, right? That are just really really big. And that's like something I remind people who are actually like here. I'm like, it's so much easier to organize in North Carolina because it's smaller, right? And so I can have more of an impact because I'm not having to go through as many layers of people. So I say that to people too that are like maybe in smaller spaces, and maybe they don't think that the thing that they do will make an impact. And what I say is like that's where it makes the most impact. And then you can take those skills that you used in this smaller scale and then scale them, right? And so like I organize. Lately, for the last 2 years, I've been concentrating on North Carolina almost exclusively. But before that, I was organizing like on the national stage and pulling in a bunch of partners and doing this. And what I will tell you, it's like, and a lot of leaders talk about this too. Obama has talked about this ad nauseum, but that it's all the same. Like organizing at the bottom and organizing at the top, it's the same. It's the same type of people. They just got different suits on. You know what I mean? Like that's it. Like they're just wearing different clothes. Like that's it. But it's like it's the same type of stuff. They're not like smarter at the top, right? That or have more this or that. Like they just are different, wearing different clothes. So once you kind of know that, then you know that no matter what room you're in, you can own the room.
So before I turn it over to Brian, I have one more question. Do they have Cubs fans and White Sox fans in North Carolina, or just Cubs fans?
Oh, those are fighting words. I think they're all Atlanta Braves fans probably in North Carolina, with like the lone Cub fan over here.
No, I'm with you. I'm from
you know,
Homewood. I'm from Homewood. I'm from the south suburbs,
nice.
so I'm with you, Lindsay. Brian, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about what's been going on in Texas, because so you're doing this in support of like election defense, and so this large kind of physical exertion to make a point about how important defending our elections are. And now you're hearing about the 1.25 million people that they just pulled off the Texas voter rolls. Um, and so it's typical of what is going on in the country and why this is necessary. So I just like to talk about that. Like, share your thoughts.
Yeah, like I mean, what I think. So this is gonna hurt some people, but like we got here as a country, I believe in part because of apathy, right? Like we got very comfortable. A lot of people, a lot of Americans are not involved in politics. They're not involved with their city council or the county commissioners or their local government or their or other government, right? And we see that particularly like at voter turnout, right? Less than half of Americans vote on anything, right? And so the compounded effects of not being engaged in your government leads us to Trump, right? Like all roads lead to that. And because Trump did not become Trump overnight, right? Like Trump was a sustained effort over decades, right? Like a lot of us might have watched him on TV when he was in Home Alone, when he was on The Apprentice, right? And we laughed at him and kind of, and just thought it was just like novel, right? But every step this maniac just kept going. And so now, we've got these horrific things like in Texas where they're pulling people off the voter rolls. And my hope is that I still am talking to people that still have that apathy, right? That like my vote doesn't matter, or the government's just going to do what they're going to do. And so my hope is that like as folks are seeing what's happening in Texas and other places, that they're starting to maybe come to the table, because there's a certain, and it probably hurts some feelings too, but there's like a certain amount of privilege that comes with like being like, I want to punch out from what's happening to the world right now. And I was having this conversation with Brian actually, that like there's such a small number of us that are trying to move the needle, and we need more people in the game. And so my hope is that when we see stuff like that happening in Texas, maybe that's hitting closer to home for somebody, right? And then I mean, obviously for the Texans, hopefully it's hitting home for them. But hopefully it's also resonating with some other people. Like, what if that happens in your state, North Carolina or Georgia or Illinois? What if those people just get removed from the rolls? What if you go to vote and you can't because you're not on the rolls? And specifically in North Carolina, we saw that with one of our judicial elections previously, where they were trying to throw out, one of the justices was trying to throw out all the a lot of absentee votes. So there was a lot of military votes that were about to get thrown out because they were questioning their authenticity. So in North Carolina, we're very tuned to that, but certainly again, like there's a lot of people that have a bit of apathy still. But I don't know. My hope is that this is getting more people to the table. Because I'm trying not to necessarily focus so much on the wrong, right, and more on the people that I can mobilize. And not that the wrong isn't something that needs to be corrected, but I know that like the attorney in me knows that that is somebody else's lane. Like somebody is about to bring a lawsuit or bring something to correct that action, and that's not us, right? Like that's not. So the other part of my organizing and all of this is helping people to understand their lane and not to get maybe too wrapped up in the like the death spiral of trying to fix all those things. So like as they're removing people from the rolls in Texas, for most people, your job is not to just stay mad about Texas and to try to get them back on the rolls. Like that's going to be somebody's very specific job, but your job might be something else, right? Your job might be bringing awareness to that. Your job might be trying to help people get to the polls where you're at, but like really helping people dial in to the situation and giving them the action they need to do so they don't kind of settle into what I call like their trauma brain, like the shock of it all, and to get them into action. Like, okay. And so since this is the smoke pit, the analogy that I use with folks is that of a firefight, right? Like if you're in a firefight, like you're not happy about that, right? 1 star, you're not too happy. But like if I'm taking fire in the north and my buddy is in the east, like I can't help my buddy in the east while I'm taking fire in the north. Like I have to neutralize the enemy in the north before I can go to the east and to help my buddy. Like that's it. Like I have to stay focused. And so like for my military brothers and sisters, like that's what I remind them. I'm like, we do the job that we're supposed to do because we were able to hyper focus on the specific job we were supposed to do. And when I'm done in the north, I can head to the east and I can help my brothers and sisters. But until that's done, God be with you. You know what I mean? Like I can't do that. So that's what I need folks to really think about. Like think about the thing that you can do and to do that thing and to know that somebody else is doing that other thing. That other thing that you're doing your death spiral about, somebody is on it. Somebody has got the skill set and the resources to do that. Because, sorry, you're getting me on my tangent. But the other thing I remind people is like, and also to remember your rank in this operation. Like, are you a private? Are you an E7? Are you a sergeant major? Are you a general? Or what, anything in between? And you pick your rank in this operation not based on your ability to lead. You pick your rank based on the resources you have at your disposal. Right? So, like the ACLU, that is like a general in this operation. Okay. They have got access to resources and can move some needles. But most of us don't have access to that. So, although we may be great leaders, we may have, resources. The resources available to us are like the E4 mafia resources. And so we need to understand that that's our job then. If we have those resources, that's what we have. And like that's also why I organize, because then that kind of builds my rank up. Because maybe, maybe I am a general, maybe I got my star, who knows. But as I'm like trying to build my people power, then I can have some more rank, and then I can have deploy my networks for good, if you will. So sorry, Brian, long-winded answer.
No, all of that's actually wonderful. I really like the observation about staying at your rank and how your rank, like what your rank is, and even using the analogy of a rank is actually really useful. It's useful to me, actually. This is just good advice for like activism in general, because it is definitely a problem where people get out over their skis very, very quickly, and then they end up burning out, and then they're no use to anybody. So that's good advice.
So, Lindsay, one thing that I think about is when I started to get involved, and I was not an activist until 314 when I met Carlos Alvarez Araños. And you know Carlos, I'm sure. And, I heard him speak at the 314 March in 2025. And, he inspired me. And so I reached out to him afterwards and said, Carlos, I'm this old PR guy. I'm retired now. How can I help? And he put me to work. But back then in March of 2025, I didn't see a lot of people. I think they were still in shock after the election. But I was like, I've got to do something. I don't know what, but I have to do something. So I went down to DC for that protest. But there weren't as many people. But I've seen as I go to each subsequent protest, not only more people, but actually more enthusiastic, more engaged people taking on more responsibilities. Is that your sense as well?
Oh yeah, yeah. And that's yeah, no, that is exactly my sense. Like we're getting more and more people out in these streets, and people are trying to get in where they fit in. And so like I meet with a group. I have a group that I meet with every month, and we call the group, or the name of the group is called Stitch and Bitch. And so basically, to be fair, it's like a bunch of lesbians crocheting, but it's a fantastic group. But but like in this group, just as an example, like there are groups of people that it's hard for them to go out in public for a lot of reasons. Like my black and brown community, it's hard for them to go out because they may become targets. My queer community, again, may become targets. And so it's been and so like coaching them over really the last 2 years, now that we've kind of been in this regime, and getting them to like do drive-bys past protests, just to start, right? Past, give a honk, maybe hand out some bottles of water, just trying to like build up their nervous system response and to kind of get them out there. Because there's a fair amount of people that want to go out, but just like one, they don't know how, or two, they're scared. Some are neurodivergent, some like a lot of us are veterans, so we may have PTSD. So again, like trying to create as many on ramps and off ramps as possible. But the one thing I did notice, like especially at the beginning of 2024 when we were just kind of getting into this insanity, is that the people that were out there in the streets the most, at least in the zip codes I was in, was like little old white haired ladies. And I call them my Q-tips, like just like little old ladies in walkers, like, but just like pushing their little walker with their little sign, like, and moving to the front. And you could tell this was not their first time, and they did not care. Like, it was hot. They didn't bring water. They were just, but they were out in those streets. And that was like really like telling to me that they not, I mean, because one, they saw the writing on the wall, but two, that they were like, no, like we are going to make a stand. And so then it was like me relaying these stories to my peers and things, to being like, hey, you guys, like, if Aunt Betty's out here, like I feel like the rest of us can, and so Yeah, so it's building people up, lowering the barriers, convincing them that their voice does make a difference. And again, like that kind of like goes back to the march. Like I've been using this moniker Operation Take Up Space for the last couple of years. It's just now a march. Like everything, I'm like using that hashtag and all my stuff. Like just like take up space. That's like it's the thing I'm always telling people. Like take up space in the grocery store, right? Like when somebody makes that offhanded racist comment and you're just like deer in the headlights and they look to you to be like to give them the nod of approval, right? Like what is your response? Like you don't have to have like 18 bars of response. Like you can just be like no, no, so it's kind of training people into that environment because that's new to a lot of people, and God bless them. Like I don't want people to have to keep fighting, and the fact that they haven't had to do it yet, I want to live in that life, and so God bless them for getting to be in that space and getting to just be, right? But now they're seeing what's happening, and we're just kind of giving them that gentle nudge to come out into these streets and join us, and that we're not. I may be a crazy pink-haired lady, but I'm pretty nice. Like I'm probably gonna give you a hug and a high five, right? With your consent, of course. Consent is important to me, but it can also be a wave.
Yeah, my mother's 95 now, but until just recently, she was out there protesting in Homewood with my sister, who's a couple years older than me, and that's all I'll say. And you see these people in their 80s and 90s, and my mother really fought for the Equal Rights Amendment. And so this is personal to her, even at this age. It's very personal. That we're going backwards, and she worked too hard for that to just stand here, even if she's 94 and 95 now, and just let it go idly by. That's not going to happen. Not on her watch, as long as she has a breath left in her. I'm going to turn it over to Carl. Carl, what would you like to ask Lindsay?
Hey, Lindsay, how are you?
Hey, friend.
So, I'm relatively new to like the whole organizing and getting out in the streets thing. I'm one of the on this panel. I'm one of the newest people that is fresh from the military. So I'm not even at 2 years yet. And the question I get asked by a lot of people, and I consistently ask myself, is what's the point? What's the point of going out and getting in bulk rallies in the streets, because it doesn't seem to have the effect that we're wanting to have, right? I've heard the whole 3% rule. I've heard discussions about how movements are the things that change policy, but right now it doesn't seem to really be moving the needle. So what do you tell people who are like on the fence, who look at this and they say this is just a lot of bluster, but it's not really doing anything? How do you convince them that it's the right move?
Yeah, no, I love that question because that is something we get a lot, right? And the idea is not like just the protest, right? Like the protest is a tool, an amplification mechanism, right? Where I'm just trying to like focus everybody's attention on one thing on one day towards one action. But there's a lot of things that are going on like behind the scenes that people can join in behind. I say behind the scenes, but there's a lot of organizing that's happening in the background, right? So like in North Carolina right now, they're trying to put in like just by way of example, data centers in a couple different zip codes, right? And we're also having like a lot of flock cameras up. And so like we're doing protests and things around data centers and we're doing protests around flock cameras, but we're also doing like back of the house work. Like we're going to meet with our local government leaders, right? We might be meeting with the mayor, the city council, the county commissioners, right? So there's all these different pieces that are all happening. And then like those are like smaller examples, and certainly we're doing a lot of protesting around Trump and all of this insanity, but we're protesting to get more people to notice what's happening, right? And to get them out into these streets and to be like, okay, this is a thing. And also to kind of, in a way, to normalize what we're trying to do. Because what I want to see, like at a No Kings or something like that, I want people to drive past that and say, oh, that's my neighbor there, right? So like I see my local leaders out here doing this, maybe that's something I should start paying attention to. So it's the build of it all. And so, yeah, so I mean, I hear what people are saying about that, and not to like be a dick about it, but like those are people that don't understand how change happens, right? Because that's somebody who may have the mistaken belief that it happens in that one action, right? And I think as maybe as Americans, we have that because we're kind of new to the game, arguably, compared to our the rest of the nations, right? Because like France will get out and burn some shit down, and they will be done in a day, right? Like they're going to do their protest and they're going to get it done quick. We are a baby country in that regard, right? Like we haven't done these really robust, sustained protests in the same way as some of our international colleagues have had. So, and I get the sense too sometimes, like with Americans, we're very like a quick fix kind of culture. And as somebody that's like I've lived abroad and like, and if you've ever lived abroad, a lot of veterans have, like we notice how things are a little bit slower. Right? Things might be closed on Sundays in other countries, right? So like they're moving at a different pace than we are. And so I say all that to say, like, hang on tight. This is not a quick fix. It took us a while to get to the spot that we're in now, and it's going to take us a bit to get out, but it's going to take more people to be awake to get us to where we want to go.
And that makes sense. I mean, I've been trying to tell people the same thing. I was with you for for my first big rally up in DC, where we actually had the arrest occur. And I toyed with the idea of going red on that day, but my husband was there and tempered my desire. But I will say, you radicalized my husband. Like I came out of the the event and I saw him doing things that I didn't think that he would do, and it shocked me. You have that way about you, and I really do. I aspire to be like you in that regard. Why did you choose Wilmington and not Raleigh? And what's the significance behind Wilmington? I know you covered you talked about it, kind of breezed over it, but I'm from California and I didn't know about Raleigh. About Wilmington until maybe 2 years ago when I actually started to dig into it. So what made you choose Wilmington instead of Raleigh?
Yeah, so I mean, so Wilmington is so in 1818. I'm dyslexic, so I have to like say it really slow. 1898 was the only successful coup in the United States. So like as we're kind of like trying to anchor people into that timeline, so we're thinking like post Civil War, right? Our black and brown colleagues are getting integrated into the South and into a lot of other spaces, and this is pre-civil rights movement. So what we're seeing in Wilmington is our black friends who are owning businesses, who are owning property, who have set up papers, or newspapers, and are completely integrated into society in that zip code. And the white supremacists there are having none of it, right? So they decide that they are going to go down and burn their businesses and lynch many of them in the streets, and then hold no one accountable for it, right? So nobody was prosecuted. Every person that did any kind of murdering or committed any crimes completely got away with it. And then those that remained, pled with the governor, pled with the president at the time to provide assistance, and none was provided. So that's very important and very also like a warning shot. I mean, hopefully we're seeing it as a warning shot of like, hey, like, what are we going to allow to occur here, right? Like we could end it in Raleigh, but it doesn't feel right. Plus, I can't get 300 miles just from Asheville to Raleigh. And also there's a lot of military bases in Wilmington too, so there's some reason to kind of anchor it in Wilmington in addition to the 1898 memorial. But that memorial is really important, I guess, for me in that regard, because we can't forget, right? And you're right, Carl, like not a lot of people know that, like there was only one, like if there was only one successful coup in America, like you think we would know about that one, right? Because all of us could like name, like we have a lot of school shootings and things like that, but all of us could name at least a dozen right now. You know what I mean? Like just off the cuff. We could name that. We could name any number of wars we've been in off the cuff, right? But we can't name the one like, and we all know that about the J6, insurrection, but we can't name the one time a successful coup happened in the United States. So yeah, and again, like I also like North Carolina too because the other thing that is interesting about North Carolina is, and I think Tim might have alluded to it earlier, is it's spicy, right? And so what the thing I would say is like how much like the KKK and this idea of white supremacy like lives and breathes in North Carolina, maybe even more so in other states. So like PBS did a documentary some years back talking about like where like basically the KKK was headquarters, and it was in North Carolina. So a lot of those types of people still live in North Carolina, right? And they're continuing that type of work here. And so for me again, it's like if I am nothing, I am stubborn. I like to laugh, and I like to just do whatever the hell I want. And so like, and the one thing that makes me the most crazy, well, one of the things is like white supremacy, and it makes me crazy. But so yeah, so that's arguably why Wilmington and maybe not Raleigh.
Yeah, the like, and you told me this already, the story about Wilmington, and I didn't know that until you told me. So I've been doing a little reading about it, and it's pretty hairy, what happened there. And you don't hear about it, and it's just weird that that has never been really surfaced before. So I mean, thank you for bringing it to my attention. So I'd like to talk about just like how you prepare for this kind of thing. So just a little bit of thought on like why I think this is like an effective event, just my kind of read on it, and what impresses me about the idea is that when you're demonstrating physical resilience in a really, really public way, that it maps onto sort of, courage and all of these sort of virtues in people's minds, that matter. When Hannibal went over the Alps, and like the Romans couldn't believe he was able to do that, is because his soldiers demonstrated physical resilience above and beyond them, and as a result, they had a superhuman quality when compared to the Roman soldiers, and they got into the soldiers' heads in that fashion. And so I'm looking at this event as something like that, but it is a 300-mile march. Okay. That is a lot. So how do you even prepare for this kind of thing? Because if you march for 200 miles and then fall out, like that's not going to be as nearly as impactful as doing the 300.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I prepare by mostly screaming into the abyss, you know. I mean, I guess I prepare for it in the way that like I prepare for a lot of things, I because I do get asked a lot like how I can do the things that I do, and I just tell people that like I have a very aggressive self-care plan, right? Like so the self-care plan involves everything, right? Like I'm watching like not how much I'm eating, but exactly what I'm eating. Am I like eating some nourishing foods that are like helping my body? Am I exercising? Am I exercising an appropriate amount? Maybe I need to be laying off some things. Maybe I'm just walking. Maybe I'm not doing a hard workout. Maybe I'm taking it nice and easy and just doing some yoga. Who am I spending time with? Are they bringing me light or are they not? So it's like I'm thinking about what I'm putting in my body. I'm thinking about what I'm watching. I'm thinking about like staying center. And oddly enough, like it is all about staying like level, right? Like so I'm constantly just checking in with my body and noticing maybe I'm not noticing my mind is going 100 miles an hour, but I might notice it in my body first. So I'm just like taking a step back like okay, how's my body feel? And if I can't calm my mind down, I'm just checking in with my body, checking in with my body, checking in with my body, and then noticing what's happening, noticing, and then saying, okay, do I need to have some more ease here or do I need to have some movement? I call it like shaking the sillies out. Sometimes I need movement, right? Like I just need to like go on a long hike, and maybe I'll go hike 5 or 10 miles. Or maybe I need to do the opposite, and I need to like sit on my butt. But in large part, though, it's been a lot of movement for me, because I have the intensity of the situation that we're in is is a lot, right? And so as I'm trying to process, as we process trauma through the mind, we have to process it through the body. So your nervous system was wired like branches of a tree, and when we experience traumatic events, those branches get pruned. Now those branches can regrow, and so that's one of the things we do at the yoga studio and in some of my other practices is we're creating the conditions for those branches to regrow. But the example I like to use is that of like the animal kingdom. So when a prey animal is getting chased by a predator. So like I've got a lion that's chasing an elk or something, right? And that is that would be arguably a very traumatic experience for that elk, right? But let's say that the elk escapes and survives. That elk doesn't have PTSD, right? Like doesn't have PTSD in the way that we would. And the reason that is because that elk is able to close this neurological loop, right? And so in us, it gets stunted. It doesn't get closed, it doesn't go the whole way. But how that elk closes that neurological loop is what it does is after it makes its way free, is it goes and finds a little like safe corner. And what it does is it just starts to shake profusely. And so what that does is that movement is closing that neurological loop. So that's how the animals do it. And then we also see that like in our dogs, if our dogs have ever had the zoomies and they're just going, right? Like they are, and I just make the joke, shaking the sillies out, right? Like they are closing that neurological loop. And so there are 3 signs in the human body neurologically that we can see that are clues to us that somebody is closing a neurological loop. All right. And one of those is shaking. So it's like shaking if you're not in muscle failure, let's say, like you could be shaking because you did so many push-ups, but you could also just be shaking for a different reason that you're unsure of. So that's one clue. Another clue that I look for is somebody starting to sweat. So sweating for maybe no apparent reason. That could be you're closing a loop. And then the third one is your eyes start to leak. Or you start to cry, right? And so those 3 things in us as humans are things that we tend to maybe stop. Like if something, so again, like going back to the firefight, like after folks come out of a firefight, it's not terribly uncommon for folks to just shake right afterwards, right? And so they're getting an adrenaline dump, right? They got an adrenaline spike and now adrenaline dump. And so what can happen is that folks might think that is bad, right? Because they're like, why am I shaking? So they might try to stunt that. Or somebody might just start to cry, right? And they may not know why they're crying, or maybe they do have a reason, and know what that reason is. Or they may just start to sweat. And so what often happens is we as humans, we stop it because we don't understand the thing that's happening and we are interpreting it as bad. And so when that happens, the neurological loop does not complete, and then those things start to prune. So again, like long-winded answer, but I've had like such bad PTSD and I've worked on it so hard that like I'm in this space now to where it's like, not that nothing can get me, but like things can get me, but it's a little tougher now because I know all the different little pieces that are in this puzzle. And lately, I have been having to do a lot of shake the sillies out. And the way everything is going right now in this country, this 3-week march is starting to feel like a vacation. So I'm excited. I'm going to be tired. My feet are going to hurt and all the things. But I would also say, like, we all can do hard things. Like, and if we really think about it, like, many people that are watching this right now are likely veterans. Like, we have done harder things than this. We've done harder things than survive fascism. We've done harder things than walk 300 miles. We have done harder things. It's just, if we don't look back, then maybe we don't see how far we've come, So it's like, if we're not checking that and reminding ourselves of that, this seems hard now. And I'm not saying it's not hard, but I'm saying I know that we can do this. And that's why part of me is walking in the shape that I'm in. I'm like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I've had a 0 fatality rate so far. I just got to make it 300 more miles.
Yeah, so I mean, we could go off on a bit of a tangent because that reminds me a lot, like that whole idea, like shaking the sillies out, and actually makes me think a lot of like a mindfulness practice. It's like it's not about the fact that things that make you angry or upset don't make you angry or upset. That always exists, but like it's when you have a healthy sort of loop, you can kind of process it quickly and get it over with, rather than just sitting there and letting it simmer, right? Because that's really what gets people. It's not that something traumatic happened to you. It's like something traumatic happened to you. You can't let the thing go, and then it ends up defining who you are. So that's really really interesting how that came together. Um,
Yeah, The Body Keeps a Score is a great book for folks that want to
yeah.
dive into all the neuroscience. I'm not a scientist, I'm a lawyer. Don't trust me on that, but trust the book, trust the real researchers.
Yeah, I mean you can get wisdom from things like that though. Like
Yeah.
yeah. Um, okay, cool. So you have this march planned. It's going to be a long one. Tell me a little bit about the rallies. So there's going to be four of them, from what I understand. And what type of turnout are we expecting?
Oh,
We
yeah,
got
that's a great
media on the
question.
hook, like getting
I
the
have
word out.
no
'Cause this
idea.
is I
I,
I want people to know about this because this is super cool. And like if you just run it over in your head, she's walking 300. They're walking 300 miles to support democracy. Like that's a big deal. Like.
yeah, I mean, so hopefully a lot of people are there. If not, like, I try not to measure it on the amount of people that come,
Mhm.
because I feel like even before we stepped off, I feel like we've inspired a lot of people. Like I haven't talked to anybody that was like, "Lindsay, this is stupid, don't do it." Right? Like everybody I've said is like, "Lindsay, you're crazy, but I love it." Like this sounds amazing. You should totally do this. I can't and I'm going to watch. So that's the cool thing too. Like again, like, and as we're talking about building on ramps and off ramps for people, like people don't even have to come to be impacted by this. Like they can watch us and be impacted by this. But the idea in the big cities is to then create a space for people to come out and see us, right? So that people who aren't able to walk, and that is not accessible to them, maybe it is accessible for them to come out to an event, right? And the idea was to like anchor it in different themes, because part of what Trump is doing to us right now, and what he's been doing to us for the last 2 years, is he's throwing everything at us all at once, right? And so the idea, again, there's so many ideas behind this march, but another theme is to just take that and turn it on its head. Like I don't have to walk for one thing. I can walk for everything all at once. I'm just encouraging people to take up space. And some people might be anti-war people. Some people might be climate justice people. Some people might be LGBTQ, Black and Brown Lives Matter. Like they can pick the thing, or they can pick multiple things, and they can take up space and walk for the issue or be supportive of the issue that makes the most sense for them. So they don't have to pick, I don't have to pick, and I actually am choosing to pick them all. But obviously I only have 4 cities, so I got to pick a couple things, you know? And so and I just kind of like landed on the things that I picked because partly of how the cities are mapped out, and what I thought would work in those spaces, but also things that I've done previously, right? Like in Asheville, we're doing a yoga fest. I own a yoga studio. Everything I do with my activism work, with whatever work I do, it is inclusive and trauma informed. So, like, as I'm talking about shaking the sillies out, I'm training community activists how to do that. So it's like the more I can get people to regulate their nervous systems, the more I can keep them in this fight and keep them from getting burnt out. Because I think it was you mentioned it, Brian, or maybe it was Carl, but like the burnout rate is insane, and I get it, right? But like I've been doing this for like 2 decades now, and like and if I can do it for 2 decades, you can do it for for another year with me, just maybe. Just maybe, and I'm going to show you how. And I know you, and even if you hate yoga, you don't. I know I do yoga, but you don't have to do yoga. I'll find something else. Not everybody has to love yoga, but that's one of the offerings that we we give. And so we're in Asheville. There's a bunch of hippie dippies out in Asheville. I love my Asheville babies. So we're gonna do yoga in Asheville, and then again, like because of who I am as a person, if you Google like my name and Proud Boys, you'll see me doing drag show stuff. So I'm obviously doing a drag show on anything that I can get my hands on. So Charlotte, there's a lot of queens and kings that live in Charlotte, so we're doing a drag show there. And then Fort Bragg. I'm near Fort Bragg. I worked on Fort Bragg. God, geez, for 10, 15 years. I can't remember. But So doing an anti-war demonstration on Bragg, or well, near, outside of Bragg at the Airborne and Special Operations Museum with people that I know, and people that live in this community that I've been like breaking bread with for a really long time is super meaningful. And then ending it in Wilmington, really highlighting the white supremacy and the insanity in Wilmington, but also like that is a a vignette of what's going on in the country right now, right? With how Trump is moving, and it's just so it's in part I feel like I got lucky, that North Carolina had this beautiful thread that I could tug on rather. But yeah, just encouraging people, like if you don't like my 4 events in my 4 key cities, just come on out anyway. I'll probably be able to buy you a beer. You know what I mean? So like you're gonna have fun. Um, and and that's another thing. Like have fun. Like they want us to be beaten down, right? Like they want us to give up. So like joy is also like a steady thread throughout this. And people that know me, like this is my personality. Like people make the joke like they know if I'm in the building because they can hear my laugh. Like they're like, I hear her. Where is she? So like so like people find me in that way, and I love that, like because that's not intentional. Like that's just how I came out, if you will. But like that joy is going to remain. Like some fucking fascist doesn't get to choose my joy. Like I get to choose that. I get to choose that. And like I said earlier, like I'm going to die anyway. So I'm going to go out building people up and building community and creating the world I want to see. Like that's it. That's it. That's what I'm doing. And I'm hoping that gives people permission to do the same, right? Like if I can do it and I'm still standing, right? Like maybe you can too, even if it's different, right? And it should be different. Nobody should be doing it in the way I'm doing it because they're not me. Everybody has to do it in the way that makes the most sense for them.
Thanks, Lindsay. One of the things that I struggle with is, and I, people jump on the education system as being at fault or this or that. But I think it's the whitewashed memories, especially of Anglo-Saxon white Christian nationalist Americans. And, this is not something new, this fascism. This has been with us from the get-go. There's a book out right now that just came out called The Biggest Lie, The Prehistory of American Fascism, 1818 to 1915. The Wilmington stories in there. There's stories from New Orleans in there, from Atlanta, and from the North. And from the North.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The fascism is and racism is not a Southern issue. It's an American issue. It is an American issue, and it has been here since they did the Constitution. Quite honestly, and before that with slavery. But what was left in the Constitution, what was left out, the fascism has been here from the very beginning, and so it frustrates me. I'm the old man on this panel. It frustrates me to no end how many people who went to the same high school, and I went to a really good high school. It was one of the top 3 high schools in Illinois at the time. How many people I went to school with have this other vision of America and its history that doesn't align with what our country's history is? Can you talk a little bit about that and how you've tried to educate and change people based on that?
That's not a doozy of a question at all, Tim. No, but I got you. I got you. Because, well, I mean, it's by design, right? Like, the education system is by design, right? Like, they need cogs in the wheel so the wheel can keep turning, right? And like I'll just use like Amazon is kind of like a vignette for it, right? Like Amazon and Jeff Bezos, like they're making all of this money. I don't even know how many zeros, right? Like it's too many zeros. But like they're not making all of this money by themselves, right? So like part of our education system made us believe in this like American dream type of stuff, right? And this is something that's pervasive, right? That's not just in America, right? There's this American dream internationally, right? Where people come to America for the American dream. And the dream is that in part, right, that maybe I could have $1 million someday or $1 billion, or I could have all of this. And there's a belief that if you could, then you did it because you worked hard. You, and maybe your small little team at best, right? But you did it. You earned it. You did that. But like Jeff Bezos did not earn billions of dollars with Jeff Bezos. He did it by having a bunch of workers that he didn't pay a living wage to, right? And then just compounded that over and over and over. So after we murdered every indigenous person in the United States, right, on their land, right? Like we just continue, like you were saying, like we just continued that process, Tim, right? We just picked a different category. We just picked a different group of people to enslave or to murder or to do the work. It's all about having cogs in the wheel to do the work, and they're just changing the manner in which they do it, right? So slavery was a mechanism now, and we're in our own version of that now. And so I don't know that, I mean, I guess in part there's an education piece that has to happen, but what I think is most important, I mean, education is important, of course, but like we have to have people doing it. That's why we're doing the march. You got to do the thing. And the thing I like about, like, to highlight Mamdani for a second, is that he's just doing it. He's saying that, hey, we can fix all of these things in New York, and we can provide all of this stuff. And even I was like, when he was saying it, was like, how are you going to pay for that? You know what I mean? Like I'm like, I hear you say how you're going to do it, and all these millionaires and billionaires are like, well, I'm bouncing. Right. And Mamdani called their bluff, and he was like, I'm going to do all these things, and it's not going to raise taxes for the average New Yorker, and we're going to do the thing, and everything is going to be fine. And sure as shit, he was right. He's like 6 months in, and he has done more than Eric Adams did, or arguably any other mayor in New York. And he's done it. He's made quick work of it. And so that's what I like to tell people. Like, I don't know that it's necessarily an education piece as much as just a couple people just deciding to get their asses in the ring, get their ass kicked. Because Mamdani, again, he did not grow up in a vacuum either, right? Like, he has been slowly organizing, building people power, doing the things, and like just getting his ass beat. Right? Like, he's out in them streets doing those things. So just like picking your hard, like, okay, yep. We are a fascist state, and America has been all the things like since its inception, right? They made us believe that we were not like that, and that, you know, there was no genocide, let's say, of all of our indigenous people, that slavery wasn't so bad, or whatever they said. But that was by design, right? And we can get just a couple people to do it and be like, no, it can be a different way. Then that is what I think takes like the veil off people's eyes, right? Because I don't know that I can talk somebody into that, right? Like, I don't know that I could say, like, that's the history you believe is wrong, right? Because what that does in their body and in their nervous system is that creates a sense of almost like fight or flight. So they're going to fight you on it. And that's where the MAGAs are at right now. A lot of them, right? Like, they have accepted this thing that Trump is so much that you cannot educate them out of it, because they literally think that they are going to die, right? Like, their nervous system is in fight or flight, and they're like, I cannot change that belief, because that means that this thing about me is wrong. The thing about me. So for me, I don't try to educate people out of it. And I mean, you can, I'm not saying it can't be done, but I just do it. Right? Like, I'm just doing it. I'm just going to walk and be like, I can just create the community that you want to see. I don't have to fight you on your beliefs. I don't have to do nothing. I'm just going to do it, and you're going to see it, and you're going to be like, oh shit, I can do that too. because most people want their neighbors to be fed, right? Most people don't want a bunch of homeless people outside. They want them to be housed, right? Most people want to go work a job, come home, feed their family, and just live. Like I just want to live, right? like I just want to like drink beer, do yoga, go on hikes, like rinse and repeat. Like that is what, and a lot of people want to do that too. And when we kind of show them that yes, it can be done, and it can be done while you still earning a living wage, like, so yeah, sorry, Tim, you got me going. It was a good question, but I don't know that education is the solution for everybody. It's a solution for some.
Yep. Well, thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to pick your brain on that. Lindsay, hikes are 300 miles is a little more than a hike. Just letting you know. Carl has a question.
Yeah, so actually, my question is from the audience. Or one of our followers over on Substack named Richard. He says that he's 62 years old and ready to fight, but he lives outside of the state of North Carolina. Wants to know what folks that are outside of the state and unable to attend the rallies or even the march itself, what can they do to during this time frame to show their support?
Yeah, so we're gonna have a national day of action with 5051 on the on 9/26, and so we're gonna be sending out a toolkit to so folks can like create an event in their own city on that day in particular, and we can just have like a collective national day of action. But there's a lot of different things people can do. So like one of the things I'm doing in North Carolina too, as I'm marching, is I'm building out like my election protection network. So how some folks may have done like ICE response in their zip code, we're doing that in North Carolina with election protections. So the idea is that like I'm looped into our, let's call it like election protection boiler room. And when they get a call that like there is some funny business going on in X location, they want to be able to call like my network and say, hey, Lindsay, could you deploy some veterans to X location to help escort people in and out of the polls so that way they feel safe. And so that's something that people can do. They can start kind of building out their networks or reaching in to join some other networks so they can do something where they're at. But if you like, but plug into something, either plug in with an established organization that's already in your zip code, like find one that's got some like values that are aligned with yours, whether it's like a voting agency, maybe it's the Democratic Party if that's your vibe. But there's a lot of different like nonprofits that are doing a lot of work, and so like jumping on with one of those would be great. But even if you're in a space where maybe there's not a lot of action, like you can create your own. Like I always just remind people, like you can just do things. And so like creating an event, like putting up a flyer at like, I do a lot of stuff at breweries because veterans like to drink, and it's easy for me to get people into a public space like that. So like just creating an event, calling it whatever you want. Like I do, like I said, Stitch and Bitches, but you can just call it like Veterans and Coffee, or maybe maybe it doesn't have to be around beer, but you can have just create an event at a local business, put up some flyers, pull in some like-minded people, and just start organizing them around the thing that you want it to be. And obviously, like I'm very concerned about election protection amongst other things, but you may have some other top of mind issues. It might be a lot of times at first I'm just trying to get people to talk to each other, right? And to get in community, get in community, right? Because the more we stay divided and on social media and things like that, the easier it is for us to kind of like create that death spiral. And if we're just seeing the things that are in the algorithm, again, like that's how they're keeping us compliant, right? Like if we're not out in these streets talking to people, right, and we're seeing like most people are pleasant people and they're like good, most people are arguably good people, right? So yeah, like I remember one time I was with my kid is trans, and got into a little bit of a car accident in like West Virginia a year or two ago, and we were just like stranded on the side of the road for a hot minute. And then the person that came to get us was a MAGA guy, and he was a tow truck driver. He had his like MAGA stuff on, but he was the kindest person to us. Like he got us, and put us in his truck. Me and my kid were sitting right there, and like I pointed out the MAGA stuff to my kid just to like let him know, like, hey, like check it out, like people can be good. You know what I mean? Like this guy's got some political beliefs that are not aligned with ours, but like he treated us kindly. He treated us with respect. You know what I mean? Like he was arguably very protective of us. Like, oh crap, I've got these, you know, what he considered vulnerable people on the side of the road in the middle of freaking West Virginia. And so I don't know. Like I just have this belief generally that people are good, and it's hard. People are hard to hate up close. So the more we're getting out in community, the more we're able to kind of build that network out. So thank you for the question. I forget who it was from. Was it Bill? I forget, but thank you.
Yeah, I mean that's just really thoughtful. Thanks for that, Lindsay. So I guess one more question. I am curious how many people you're doing this with who are going to be going with you all the way and doing the whole thing. Because I imagine you're picking up people in places, and people will do some of the march and then go home and go to a hotel or whatever. You're doing the whole thing. Do you got any compatriots with you who are taking this journey?
I do have a few. I do have a few. I don't have very many, but I do have a few. I got a few strong humans that are gonna do the whole march with me, and yeah, we'll see who else we can convince along the way. But yeah,
we could give them a shout out if you want.
Oh yeah, you know I don't want to call them out because some of them.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not sure. Some of them I think want to remain anonymous, you know, because we're all just kind of living. But I'm excited to have them along with us.
All right. Yeah, that's all I had. This event is absolutely fantastic. I've been singing its praises. Every time I get a chance to talk to somebody about it, I'm telling people about this and saying, this is really cool. You got to pay attention to it. So, you know, good job even coming up with it, and then even better job for sticking with it. So, it scares me.
It's just a little hike. Come on, Brian.
You know.
I did want to point out, the whole, beer drinking thing. Brian could have a Mac and Mobilize, Mac and Cheese and Mobilize event because he has the beer. He has the beer, but he also wants to have the mac and cheese. So and the viewers may not know this, but tonight is Hazing Brian night, so we're having a good old time with him. Lindsay, we want to kind of close up this portion of the show just by letting you kind of give your pitch again about what you're doing and where people can find more information.
Yeah, so we've got a little landing page, and it might be in the chat, but it's commondefense.us/OTUS. And so that's, is a good acronym, Operation Take Up Space. So that's where people can find more information. They can sign up. I do have a bit of a budget. So I am able to, support people if they're going to walk with us for a couple days. There might be some funding for us to put you up in a hotel so you can hang with us and all this kind of stuff. We do have a support vehicle following us. So if you don't think you can make like a full day's walk, maybe you just walk half the day and then, pop in the vehicle and ride the rest. But I guess, like, if anything, I just want people to know, like, just take care of yourself. Like, I love you guys so much. Please just take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We are going to get through this. If you want to follow us on social media and all the things, that's great. If you want to share, you can follow me on social media. I'm Lindsay Knapp. I have crazy red hair in my picture. It's going to be the only one that looks like me. Follow and share and just, take up space in the way that makes the most sense for you. Be kind to yourself, love yourself, and just maybe love somebody else too, if you're able.
Thanks, Lindsay. This has been a great episode and very inspiring and really helpful as far as self-care, which is often overlooked, and it's something that even as leaders of these various organizations, we kind of neglect ourselves and need to really take a look at. So I appreciate all the information you shared and what you're doing on the march or hike or whatever you want to call it. But thank you so much for joining us. We're going to move into the rest of our show today. Carl's our producer, and he keeps me on a tight clock. So I'm going to go on to our next part. Carl, what do we have next?
I think we're going to let Brian talk about his experience in DC.
Yeah, so this is kind of a field report. I'm actually in DC right now. I'm in a Airbnb, and I'm with 6 other MAFOs. Mass 5051 is the name of the organization. We use MAFO as kind of a short. And so we have this banner here that we took, and the author for this particular banner is really interesting. They kind of like built this whole like complex assemblage. It takes 45 minutes to put together with like 4 people. It's like really complicated, but essentially it rolls on wheels. So it's almost like a deployable parade float, and we can take it anywhere we want. Now, this was for the march in Washington. It's on the anniversary of one of King's famous speeches, and so this was a Black-led organization and group that kind of did this, and we just showed up to support. So we weren't the main characters here. We just showed up and brought something cool. I will tell you about that particular banner, though. That is the same assemblage we use for what we call the meme crime. The meme crime is a giant head of J.D. Vance, like the meme of the face that they used to make fun of him. And we know with certainty that he has seen it. And because we basically ambushed him when he was in Nantucket, which is off the coast of Massachusetts, and then we got him again in Bangor, Maine. And there's a video, I think it was Aaron Parnas or somebody. There's a video out there of like somebody like seeing the meme crime from Air Force Two, like zooming in on it and be like, "What the hell is that?" And it's J.D. Vance's hideous head that we basically follow J.D. Vance around and troll him with this giant movable banner. But you can put any banner in there because it's just a machine. So
Brian, I have a question.
Yeah.
Where are the tri-corner hats?
Just didn't do the tricorns this time.
Oh, John Moses is going to get you.
Yeah, well, it was we do like the tricorns when we do the events. We've done it before. We didn't do it this time mostly because we kind of didn't want to be super loud because it's like NAACP and all these other groups have been doing this forever, and we're like the new kids on the block. So we just wanted to show up and shake a few hands and say, hey, we're here, we're on the team, and we didn't want to make it about us. So this was not a No Kings rally. This was a March on Washington rally. It was election integrity was a kind of primary issue. There's also a lot of like really big names here. Like Bernie Sanders was there, AOC was there, Hakeem Jeffries was there. So it was kind of a star-studded event.
Okay, well, thanks for that update. Brian, anything coming up that you're aware of? Did you talk to any folks there just about what they have going on, say in the next few weeks or in the next month? Election defense is huge. This is huge. We saw what happened in Texas.
Yeah.
And my feeling is that's a beta test. That's a test run for the other states to try, especially if they're purple, to try to keep them red. So any other on the ground intelligence about things you saw, you heard about that were interesting?
No, not really. Met a lot of interesting people, made a lot of friends. Also, too, I just think like the primary season is just taking up a lot of oxygen, but it's a process that we just have to get through because we need to figure out who the leaders are going to be for the next stage of the fight. And so that's kind of, I think, where we're at.
Okay, thanks, Brian. Thanks for that update. Carl, what's next? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute. You're on.
As always, we do fire for effect. And Lindsay, you're welcome to stay for this and make fun of MAGA chuds and some military personnel as well. As I said before the show, I did some searching with keywords being military cringe and also MAGA cringe. So, of course, I got some good stuff, and it was all from TikTok. So, the first video that we opened up the show with was the "I love you, Trump, you are my daddy" with the MAGA Trumpers. I'm glad that they were able to push it out there. I know it's an oldie, but it's always a goodie to start off with. Next one is it's military cringe, and it's soldiers being soldiers. So without further ado. Panel, go ahead.
I got
That's like,
nothing, but
no,
maybe 20
but
years ago that could have been me.
well, I'm from the '80s, so I didn't see any flock of seagulls or anything, so it's lost on me. Lindsay,
I can't wait till women are in charge of everything. I cannot. All right.
You're literally the second female organizer I've talked to in just as many days who said that's where we're going. Is there something in the water? Is
We
there like
are.
some secret like plot that I
No.
don't know about yet?
Yeah. I just like to call it evidence because
Yeah.
like the track record with you guys is not good. Not good. All right. We're just gonna come in and fix it. I promise. It's gonna be okay.
Lindsay, in my defense, I want you to know that at a trade show, I won the twist challenge judged by Chubby Checker himself. And so
Nice.
I've got the moves. Unfortunately, I also have arthritis and everything else. So those moves have gone. But I did win it. In fact, the lady who came up after me, as I was doing the twist, my glasses went flying, which I think that's what really won it for me. But after that, the lady who came up just did a little shimmy. And Chubby Checker said, "Man, you're going to have to move a lot faster than that to catch up to that cracker who was just up here." So I used to have the moves back in the day, but not anymore. Carl, what else you got?
Well, right now I have a whole bunch of puppies that are being loud and obnoxious, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw out the next one, which is yes, please tread on me.
How dare you ask for my vaccine papers? This is freaking un-American communism. I'm just trying to go to Target and they're trying to ask me for my papers and they won't let me go into Target. I want to go into Target. Hi, officer. Yeah, 1 second. I got my papers. Passport, if you want to take a look at that. I've got my birth certificate, marriage license just in case. I'm not wearing a mask to go to the freaking bar, okay? Can't breathe in that thing. I have a medical condition called inhalation lung breathing difficulty disease. I can't wear that. I can't wear that. I can't wear my mask. Damn Democrats. Hi, officer. Ice Ice Baby. I like your mask. Where's that from? Amazon? I might have to get one for myself. Then we can be matching. Joe Biden, he's trying to hush us up and he's trying to convert us all to gay lesbians. Hi, officer. You can do whatever you want to me. You're so cute. My husband won't care. Trust me. He'll probably love to watch. I can get on the ground. Whatever works for you. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and. Okay.
It ended dark.
It's I mean it's this jujitsu they do. They keep turning things on themselves, and there's always receipts, as that video showed. There, it's like, this is what you said 6 years ago. Now you're here. Wait, it's the same thing, and it's just over and over and over again, and it drives me crazy.
I mean, it's the whole thing that we keep saying and we keep talking about this, like the cultish behavior. Like all of the behavior is about psychologically. I mean, Lindsay was just talking about this now. This idea of like, it's not about facts, right? And it never was. It's like about some psychological need that they have to satisfy. They have to be right about this thing because their entire personality is based on it. And when you threaten that, that makes them want to hurt you, right? Because like, and we know this from psychology, and it's the same thing. And what we're doing now is we're just saying fuck you and making fun of them. Right. And so a lot of these media influencers were kind of playing the same game on them, and it's working and it's breaking their brains.
Well, and Iran is doing the same thing to the U.S. with the Lego videos.
Yeah. Oh God.
I mean, it's a masterclass in social media. So, Lindsay, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's their. It was like I was saying before. It's like their nervous system. There is no facts. It's how they feel, right? And they feel that they've built their life on this idea, and so there's yeah. So they're not going to change. So like for me, it's just like about boundary setting. Like that's it. Like I'm not arguing with you. I'm not anything. I'm like, this is the boundary. Like, and and I love you, and I'm saying, and that's the other thing about me is like I'm very like I choose to just love everybody. Like, and that's not everybody, but that's me. Like, because that makes me feel good. Because I don't want to have to walk a line. So, so I don't like going down the rabbit hole of like making fun of them and doing all that stuff. Like, it's just because it doesn't make me feel good. So I'm kind of like just go with God. I'm like this is my boundary. I'm like, that's you do you. I will not accept that.
I mean,
You know.
you're a better person than me then, because it makes me feel great.
You do you, boo. I'm not telling anybody how to live their life.
Lindsay,
Well,
taking the high road as we're making fun of these chuds.
I know. I'm sorry. You can. That's why I'm like, don't call on me. Maybe I should pop out. You know, I can just keep making fun of people. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. Y'all just keep living.
No, and so I'm from the school that the time for discussion is over. And that's I'm not interested in having the discussion anymore. Believe them when they tell you the first time who they are. That's where I'm at, and maybe it's just because I'm at that get off my lawn stage of my life. But
Yeah.
that's where I'm at. So
Yeah, I mean, I do like the idea of like boundaries, right? If you're talking about like abstract MAGA guy on the internet, I mean, he's just an idiot on the internet, and we're just gonna shit on him because who cares, right? But if you're talking about like a family member or a friend, it gets a lot more complicated, and you don't want to like disown them at the same time. You don't want their bullshit in your life either, so you got to set boundaries. Like,
yeah.
I haven't been as good with that as I could have been in my own life, and that's a stickier wicket, but worth.
Well, and being a former Stars and Stripes reporter, I'm also a grammar Nazi, so I always like when they spell your Y-O-U-R and it should be you are, and their and it should be they are, and so I always just when they respond and give me a hard time, I just and they misspell a word, I just write the word correctly spelled and just leave it there. That's my go-to move as the grammar Nazi. So, okay, Carl, we got another one.
Yeah, I got another one. This was just going to cement Lindsay's comment about when can't wait until women take over the world. And this one's Marines. So, yeah, about that.
Oh wait, you gotta wait till Lindsay's taking another drink so she can spit it. We want to see some nose spray action.
Maintain positive control.
Oh, fuck.
That's right.
God damn. I hate Marines.
Carl's going full porn today.
It's classy.
I'm not touching that one, figuratively or literally.
I wonder if it's the same guy that wants Trump to be his daddy. I wonder if it's the same dude.
It's gonna be the same dude that goes and rapes one of his service members later.
Oh.
Like that's the
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you guys don't want me on this. Like that's
that's
the conduct,
right? It's the guy.
Like
it's the guy that makes that joke.
One in every 4 women, 1 in every 6 men are sexually assaulted before they're 18, and then they're able to do so and thrive when stuff like that is normalized. So that guy may not have ever sexually assaulted somebody, but somebody in that group has. And so then they just normalize that conduct because it's funny, and they're fingering a gun, and then they're going to be talking about fingering the new recruit when she comes in and cornering her. So y'all got y'all got me today. Sorry. Love y'all. So
No, so I don't ever apologize for calling that out, because you're not wrong, right? Like, you are not wrong at all. And
I know I'm not wrong. These are the people that I'm helping.
It may seem funny to us, like to me. I find it funny, not and it's in a terrible way. I find it funny just because Marines are stupid, right? But at the same time, those same Marines are going to be doing the things that are not okay, and it does normalize the process. I brought it in because it was Marines being stupid, and I apologize if I offended or triggered anyone with that video.
We love you, Carl. We appreciate you.
So, in keeping with our making fun of MAGA chuds and Lindsay
let's go.
taking the high road on us.
The name we're gonna pray.
Listen, the supply of chuds is endless.
Let's go back to our bread and butter, Carl.
They take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom.
Assume the position.
Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Man, the sex jokes today. We usually don't get this dirty. It's not usually our jam. So,
I blame the fact that I searched for cringe, and that's probably what got me
yeah.
in this bad position.
When you go into the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, for the MAGA laughs, we're pretty much scraping the bottom of the barrel at this point. But being a big Kevin Bacon fan, he's one of my favorite people. But yeah, that's all I got to say. You're on mute, Carl.
My last one is not sexual in nature. It is making fun of the Air Force. And this is actually something that happened on Ramstein Air Base. So someone please explain to me how this occurs.
that looks expensive.
Was that like a trailer that it got like torqued and run over?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a jackknife, but like we don't know the previous story and why they were hauling it like that. And it's like a jet of some kind, and it looks dangerous as hell. Like,
so it looks like they were towing a refueling apparatus of some sort. Like that's what it looked like. And I don't know how they jackknifed that thing in the middle of of an airfield on a massive apron. But that's what happened. And I guess I could make fun of today's generation and their inability to drive, but my generation also failed to drive properly. And I know Tim's generation didn't know how to drive because they had horse and buggies, but the fact still remains.
The worst part of having the horse and buggies was having to clean up the shit. So clean up after yourself. Clean as you go, as they say in the mess hall. Clean as you go. Okay.
Well, that one fell flat on his face. All right, I'm sorry, folks. I will do better next time. I did all right last week. Damn.
Not every week can be, the VH1 awards. Sorry, Carl. I don't even know if those exist anymore. It probably has something to do with a reality show at this point. So that's it. Do we have any calls to action that you want to highlight, Carl, or do we want to move into our safety brief?
No, I think this has been one big call to action for the event, Operation Take Up Space that Lindsay is going. I mean, Lindsay, do you want to take one more shot at plugging it and getting more people?
You guys know you want to walk with me. And if you don't want to walk with me, you want to follow me. And if you don't want to follow me, you want to come to one of my events. And if you don't want to come to one of my events, you want to give me virtual high fives and you want to put glitter in your coffee and do all the things and take up space in the way that makes the most sense for you. So just take care of yourself, do the thing, come out. But yeah, mostly just take care of you.
Yeah. And if you get there and you're wondering where Lindsay is, look for the pink hair or listen for the laugh,
Yep.
and
Yep.
you will find her. So, Lindsay, this has been just a wonderful show. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your insights with us on everything, not just the march, but history and self-care. As I mentioned before, you're just a font of knowledge for this movement, and we salute you and appreciate your presence in our movement. So, and with that,
Yeah, thank you guys.
thank you. And with that, we're going to move to the safety brief, right, Carl? In the
Yep.
safety brief, I go a lot quicker than most people. My safety brief is just what Major Purcell told me when I got to Fort Benning. 3 rules. Don't do anything stupid. Make no promises you can't keep. And you got to care. And if you break the first 2 rules, it's okay if you're still adhering to the 3rd rule. Shit happens, but you got to care. And with that, hey, hey, hey.
That's it. Let's roll. Hey.
Let's begin.